Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Zoom room. It is a Thursday today, and it is an upper body strength and ab day. I'm holding this band because we are going to be using it for the warm-up, as well as in the workout itself for some of our exercises. In addition to this long band, which again you will need right away, I have my 8-pound dumbbells, my loop bands, and then of course I have my mat, and that is about all that you will need today. If you do have a TRX, if you want to use that TRX today, it's a great opportunity as we are going to be working the back muscles doing some rows. So if you have to set up the TRX, now would be a great time to do that. But again, we will be starting off with this band, holding as wide as we can with these pass-throughs. Hello, good morning, let's go. So we're going to start off with 20 reps of these, 10 times there and back, going through these pass-throughs where I'm trying to face my palms behind me with my arms in front, and then I opening up my palms, facing them behind me like so, going through 20 of these. And if you don't have a band, you are following along without the band, doing the same thing, going through your 20. Once we're done 20 of those, don't go anywhere, because the next one is going to be the figure 8, where we bring one arm up, and then the other one comes up, and then we rotate right arm, and then left arm as we draw these figure 8 circles with each hand. So we'll go through, again, 20 of these, 10 rotations on each side, with the aim of warming up, which you're probably feeling, waking up everything in and around our shoulders. So this should not be painful. Again, if you're feeling pain, maybe your band is a little too tight, you can always just drop the band and work with one arm at a time without the band. But we'll go through those. Once you are done, we will narrow up our hands in this position here, a little wider than our shoulders. We're going to press all the way up over our head, trying to hug our shoulders to our ears, and then we'll try to bring it behind our head, clearing the back of our head so that the band preferably does not touch, bringing it down to the shoulders if we can, and then all the way back up, again, losing our neck because our ears and our shoulders come as close as they can. And then we'll pull that down, shoulders away from the ears, all the way there and back is 1. And we're doing this one just 5 times total. So we're trying to lift the shoulders up as we reach up and then pull them down as we pull down. Going through these ones again, there and back is 1, 5 of them. Same rules apply if you don't have that long band. We are doing the same thing, imagining that you had something that you actually have to bring behind your head. Tapping into that shoulder mobility. So we'll get through those ones. The next one does not require the band. So we're going to put them down, get ourselves into a hip width stance in our feet, standing nice and tall, nice posture, soft knees. We're pushing our hips back into this hip hinging position. And we're going to be working with a rotation where both of our arms are like this, palms face each other. One arm is going to rotate all the way up as close open as we can, I should say, to the ceiling, and then we'll close that and do it on the other side, trying not to move our body, our legs. That still arm down here should stay still. Just this one is moving through that mid and upper back. So we'll go through 10 per side, 20 total, following this hand with our eyes. This one's very similar to that thread the needle that we do where we kind of reach through, but you might feel a little bit more tight in this one, like you can't quite get as open to like seeing the ceiling behind you, and that's okay. So we'll go through those. Again, 10 per side, 20 total. There it is. Okay, so that mobility, we're trying to get everything moving through your lower back, your mid back, through that rotation. So where are we at on our list? So we'll get through that one. Once you are finished, we are standing up again. We want to stick our arms out. Give ourselves these little swimmers. You can just follow along with me. You know these ones, we've been here before. They're all about getting that burning sensation of ruin in our shoulders. So we're going through about 10 seconds with our palms facing down. You can follow along with me. We'll face our palms to the screen, and then now we'll move those arms backward and forward. And we're going for the burn. So we'll try to keep those arms lifted up. That burn is what we call lactic acid. We're trying to release that in our joints before we do these strength exercises because it helps everything stay a lot more fluid and safe. We'll relax those arms down by our sides and just gives ourselves a nice circle, about 2 or 3 times backwards, and then same 2 or 3 times forwards, Just moving those shoulders through that full range of motion. Okay, so we have one more warm-up movement. We are going to be working again on that mobility of trying to get our hands behind our back. So what I want you to do is find yourself a wall. Now, if you do have a wall, you don't actually need one, but you will imagine a wall in front of us. I'm going to bring myself over here and reach my arms above my head so that my thumbs are facing back. So we did this one last day, laying on our tummies. We're going to be doing it standing today. You'll need some space beside you as well, which I have, thankfully. Thumbs are facing behind me, and I'm going to reach my arms down to the sides. As I'm reaching out, I'm turning my thumbs down all the way so that I eventually can meet up with my knuckles behind my body here with my thumbs facing back up. So it's a little bit of coordination, a little bit of connecting the brain and the body. So we'll work through 10 reps total of these back burners, is what we call these ones, where we're trying to see if we can get ourselves into this position. So again, if you don't have that wall, you're just imagining it's there so that your arms aren't way in front of you when we're going. We're trying to keep them above our head as much as we can. So again, we're seeing if we can get our shoulders moving through that full range of motion. And not that we're ever going to be like handcuffed, but this is an important position to be able to get into. And if you're not comfortable, if you feel pain or if you feel really tight back here, that might be something that you might want to work on, is trying to improve that, because that typically is a mobility thing, and it will improve if you just practice it and kind of put yourself into that position more often. So we'll get through 10, and then once we're done, we are going to start you off with our first two movements, which are all about the shoulders. So hopefully they're feeling warm, because we are going to start off with a one-arm standing shoulder press. So we're going to be working with this press. I will be using dumbbells. Now, because today we are going to be dipping into a bit of a lower rep range. We're working with 10 of these reps per side. I'm going to start off a little bit lighter with just one single dumbbell in this hand. We're in a neutral grip, so I have this angle here. I'm not out here, okay, and I'm not in line with my body. I want that slight open position, and then I'll press up and over my head, going through 10 reps on this side. Dumbbell comes all the way down, so it almost touches the shoulder, and then it presses all the way up, and I'll kneel so you can see what's happening as it comes slightly above my head. So we come down here, and then up and slightly over top of that head. So we'll start off with 10 of these. And if you're working with, double dumbbells, or if you have various weights, you can start off with something a little bit lighter. Eventually, I will be using both of my dumbbells to make that 16-pounder, but we haven't necessarily done anything with weights to warm up our shoulder, and it's good practice to do these warm-up sets, which is why I like to throw them in, especially on these lower rep ranges. So we'll work with 10 and 10. If you're not using dumbbells, you probably are already using what you're going to use, whether it's a band holding one side with each hand, or we also talked about how to use that long band, which I will again as well. But we are going to go into another set, okay, right away. Now I have both these dumbbells here, for a 16-pound overhead press, where I will try to do this 10 reps per side. So if you don't have access to another weight, or maybe even your heaviest weight is not that heavy, what we're going to think about today is spending more time at the very top of each rep, because this is where it feels very wobbly and very shaky. And it requires a lot more stabilizing muscles to hold up there. So if we hold it up here and we pause here for 1 or 2 seconds, that entire set is going to feel a lot more challenging, like we're using something heavier than we are probably using, which is important because we're working with 10 reps, okay? So we don't want to be thinking like, oh, I could probably do 12 or 15. We want 10 to be it, okay? So let's see if we can get that going on for our first official set. Very nice. Okay, so we'll get this on both sides. Now that first set, again, the first one we did with the one dumbbell, the lighter dumbbell, it was technically just a warm-up set, okay? So this one you're doing right now is your first counted official set. We are going to superset this with another shoulder movement, which is going to be a lateral raise. So preferably we want dumbbells, one in each hand again. We will lower them down right when we are done that press. And then we'll lift up into this T. We have a range here, 12 to 15. So I can do 12, call it a day, or I can go up to 15. But we only want to go up into that T position just a year. We don't have to go any higher. Okay, and then we'll go through again 12 to 15. If you are non-dumbbells, long bands work best for these ones. We can do them like this. You can also use your 2 loop bands and make them into a long band. For the shoulders. Now, as you're probably feeling right about now when you're finished your lateral raises, burning shoulders are happening because we have 2 shoulder movements paired together here. So we will take some rest, about 30 to 45 seconds, which you probably feel like you need, but you can even spend a bit of time kind of swinging out and shaking your arms because it helps just overall them feel better before we go into our next set, okay? So grab yourself some water, shake it out, swing it out, whatever you would like to do, and then when you are feeling ready, which preferably less than a minute so that we can get through this on time, we will go through our second of 3 more sets, okay? So we have to do 4 total. We have 3 more to go. Back to this first one, our 1-arm standing shoulder press. So we'll go through again, 10 reps per side, trying to exhale as we push that weight up, not have our body be affected by this weight. So if you feel like you're kind of doing a little turn like this, or if you're using the legs to push the weight up, maybe this weight might be a little bit too heavy, okay? So if you can't do it without any of that, just a strict press like that, you can maybe try to make it a little bit lighter, okay? And then work with that pause. And then you'll make that feel kind of somewhere in the middle. Manageably challenging. All right, so we'll get this going on here. Second set of these ones. Very nice. Okay, so 10 and 10. And then we have our 12 to 15 lateral raises. So we'll work with these ones. Now, if you are someone who is stuck with like a pretty light set of dumbbells, maybe you have like a nice little cute set of 3s or 5s or something like that, a really good technique on this one is to hold at the top and then work with that 1 arm coming down, okay? So if you're getting to the end of this set, if you finish your laterals and you're like, okay, you know, I could probably just keep going, or you feel antsy to get ready to go on your next set of the presses, we will try to make that feel more challenging because we want to be earning this rest and using these to really tap into our strength, okay? So again, trying to make this challenging, and this might be something that you might want to try on your last 2 sets, is holding at the top and then having that 1 arm come down. Optional. Okay, so we'll rest. Woo! And then we have 2 more rounds. Sometimes these stick together, not today. Okay. So we're working again that nice, strong standing press. You want a nice, strong position in our core. You can think about pulling your belly button into your spine, especially if you're someone who's prone to lower back pain, or maybe you feel some tension or stress in your lower back. What you can do to avoid that is keep your core tight, okay? Because remember, this is your built-in weight belt. I always kind of remind you of that. You have to activate it in order to be using it. If you're just kind of standing there and like letting it all hang out, then this is not going to be very tight and protected. So what we can think about on our next set here, and this goes for the laterals and for the presses, is sort of doing a slight under pelvic tilt, squeezing the butt, pulling in the belly button, and really tightening, locking in that core. And just see how that feels on this final set. You're probably going to feel a lot stronger in here. Maybe it might feel a bit harder on the press, just maybe because you're thinking about some other stuff. Okay, so we'll get through our final set. Final 2 sets. We have about 4 minutes until we really should be started the next part, the next 2 movements. So I'll give you about 3 more just over that to finish up your final set. I'm still finding like Christmas tree pieces. It's everywhere. Okay, so we'll get through this round. Again, we'll take the rest. Woohoo! And then we have 1 last set to go on the shoulders. Very nice. Ooh-wee. So yes, again, if you want to shake it out, swing it out, whatever you would like to do between your sets. Take some deep breaths. Okay, we're going to get started on our final round. We have just under 3 minutes to do it, so you have lots of time. If you're still resting, get yourself mentally prepared for your final set of these two. And then we are moving on from the shoulders. And give them a little bit of a rest on the next part. Which is probably sounding like good news right now, because they are most likely burning. And that is what I went for. So hopefully you're feeling that way. Okay, final round. As we are coming to an end, once you finish up all of your reps on both of those, you can just rest a little bit, grab some water. We have about 2 minutes to do our thing here on these two more minutes for these shoulders. So again, take your sweet time. You really want to go out with a bang. Again, we can pause at the top in these laterals, hold them up here for a second before you leave, rather than just getting to the top and leaving. Try to do those extra 3 reps. Maybe rock out your last set of 15, even though you've only been doing 12s. Maybe. Once you are done, you can grab some water, shake it out for the very last time on these ones. We are going to move on to the next two, which are all about our back muscles. So like I said at the very beginning of the class, if you have a TRX, if you would like to incorporate that, use that today, that is going to come into play right now, because we are going to start off with a 1-arm row. Now, I do not have a TRX here, so I'm going to be using my 8-pound dumbbells. Same style as I did that press with, where I have one stacked on top of the other, so that I am holding them like this. We will be in that bent over position, and we're going to be working with a 1-arm rotational row. So I'm going to be pulling into this slightly narrow grip. I want to be pulling in a little bit wider than my ribs. And I have this rotation where my palm is facing my leg, and then I pull in and my palm faces my ribs. So we're going to be working with these, 12 of them per side. So this is going to be our first one, 12 on this side, and then we shall switch and do 12 on the other side. Again, if you have access to that TRX, you can do the same thing with that rotation, just in a more standing fashion. We can also use other stuff. I've talked about this a lot, and I will be actually using this for the next part, this anchored band down here. So if you have something like this, whether it's handled or non-handled, we can anchor that up and work with that 1-arm row, either doubled up or singled like this, for our 12 per side. For the rows, for the back. Okay, so we'll get that going on right now, right here, for our first set. 12 and 12. Very nice. And then we are pairing this with another back exercise. We have a very similar format, those first 2 movements, where we have the same back on back, and then we'll be taking some rest once we're done this second movement. So we'll get our 12 rotational rows on both sides, taking a sweet time with them, and then once you are finished, we are headed down onto the floor. Come on down here. We are going to be working with our infamous Superman with a pull-in. So I will be set up here, on the floor with my band anchored underneath this bookcase like this, okay? So this is so that I can get that tension of the band this way. I'm pulling against the band so that I get the most benefit for these lat muscles in my back. So if you have something like this, and if you can set up for this, do it, okay? Even if you have to kind of move a little bit, that's okay. Use your couch leg, your bookshelf leg, whatever it is, something stable, of course. And if you don't have something like this, or you don't have bands, that's okay, because you don't technically need them, okay? You can just do this with your hand here, pulling in like this instead, okay? But if you have something to hold, grab it, hold it, pull it in as we're going through our 15. No range, okay? You have to do 15 of them. 15 reps. Legs stay down, okay? Feet stay down. Very important that they don't lift up on this one. All we're doing is lifting the upper body and trying to pull in, shoulders away from the ears. Elbows are being pushed down into the floor, and we'll work through 15 of them okay, where we're getting all of that work in our upper back. If you're feeling tension in your ribs or in your lower back, you're probably lifting up a little bit too much, and you just have to focus on kind of pulling in a little bit more, and you'll feel that a little bit less because it shouldn't be painful in the ribs. Okay, so 15. Once you are done, we are going to rest, which again, you will probably feel like you need because we just did 2 very similar exercises. Not the same exercise, but same focus. We have our back muscles working. So we'll take a little bit of rest, okay, about 30 to 45 seconds. We'll use that time to drink our water, great time to get H2O in. And then when we are feeling ready, which is preferably in less than 45 seconds, we will start our second set. Okay, so back to that first one, our one arm rotational rows. So we're back here in very nice posture to start. Same rules apply with that core tightness. You want to soft knees, hinge the hips so that our body is sitting up on a 45, not parallel with the floor. So we want to be like right up here, and then we work with that 12 rotational rows. Woo! All right, let's get it. Second round. Second set. All right. So we have 4 total. You probably saw that coming. Maybe. Well, if you didn't, there are 4 rounds. You already did 1. You're most likely started on your second. So we'll get this second set done. And then keep in mind that we have to do 2 more after this one. Woo! Okay, so other ways that we can hold stuff in the Superman. Like I said, that is preferably the best way, okay, with it anchored onto something. But I totally understand that not all of us have that as an option. So if you can't anchor your band, a couple other things that you can try, rather than just like using your hands like this, is holding the band sideways, like so. And of course, moving your dumbbells so you don't hit your funny bone. Ouch! And so we can work with this lateral hold on our band this way, which is just overall going to help us involve more in our shoulders and in our upper back than not holding a band, as we have this lateral tension. We can also use our glute bands. You can make a longer band or use like a lighter one of these. And then the last option is holding a towel, like a tea towel or something in your hands. Again, all of those options, they just add that tension on the sides, which helps us involve a bit more through the back of our shoulders and our actual back muscles, which we want. All right, so we'll get through our second round. And then we get rest. Okay, so 2 more sets to go on these 2. Again, we will try our best to go back to back from the rows into the Supermans with no rest in between. We will only take that rest at the very end of a set once we're done those Supermans. All 15 of them, no range there. Excuse me. Okay, let's do it. Third set. Okay. So again, the back muscles and your butt muscles. Those are the 2 groups of muscles that I'm always kind of telling you to slow down with, to think about a little bit more, because oftentimes that's exactly what we need to do to really feel this. And if you're not feeling this, either of these, in the right place, which I've kind of talked about to be generally this area, these big back muscles that run down the sides of our back, these are both working on both of these exercises. So we'll really try to focus on that and send that mind to muscle connection to that feeling back there so that we can finish our set and feel extremely worked here. Okay, we shouldn't be feeling this like in our arm here. You might feel it a little bit in your neck, in the back of your neck, but mostly we should be getting that going on in our lat muscles. So we'll see if we can think about those guys a bit more here on our last couple sets. Because again, just like your glutes, they are very lazy muscles because most stuff that we do in life is forward. You know, we're always here. We're never really doing stuff to bring our shoulder blades together. So for some of us, it's kind of foreign. And you do really have to focus on it and think about it. Which is probably why you're here. Because you know it's good for you, and sometimes it's not something that we remember to think about. So we'll incorporate that here, final set or two, wherever you are, into these ones. Let's do it. Okay, so 12 and 12, really strong rows. You want to make this final set a little bit more challenging. You know what to do. More time under tension. So we can pause, or we can simply slow down. Every time we go to return those arms or that arm back to its home, we slow that return phase down. Optional. Okay, so we have about 3 minutes, which is plenty of time. So much time. You're probably starting your final set, which is great moves. Over the back. Okay, so we'll give you just under 3 minutes to finish this up. And then we have one more part to our strength, to our upper body strength. And then it's core time, ab time down on the floor. Not too bad. Okay. This is it. So we'll take this rest. Try to finish up strong here with our final set. Okay, 12 challenging reps. We don't want to be thinking that we could do 15. We want to be finished at 12. So hold those in there. Try to get our shoulder back a bit more. Okay. Last set of our Supermans. Really try to lift up those hands, but push the elbows down into the floor rather than having them hike up. It's a huge difference. So if you haven't been thinking about that, we'll try to do that here on our final set. Elbows down. It's going to allow you to use more of those lats. Let's do it. Woo, last set. And then we are off the floor for the next one, and then we are back down here for the last part, for the core. Down here to stay. Not too bad. Okay, so I'll give you 1 more minute here to do this last exercise. Okay, 15 reps of it, and then a little water break before we finish up with our final 2 movements. The last 2. And I need to have my yellow band. This one will do. This will do. Okay, so 15 reps. Let's get it. Okay, we have one last part. 2 exercises that we are going to finish with. A nice little spicy burning superset. So once you're done, again, water break, and don't put anything away because we are going to do one more version of rows, which is a combination row movement. We're going to be doing a narrow to wide grip double row. So again, if you are set up with TRX, that's a great option to do this, so you can use it. Okay, I will be using the same thing as I used before, my dumbbells, in a bent over fashion, going narrow to wide. And then we are going to be pairing this one with a loop band exercise. So you'll want to keep these guys close if you have it. Preferably, we will actually want quite a light loop band. This is a medium one, and I'm going to tough it out using a medium because unfortunately my yellow one is MIA. My niece always likes to use it, and then it goes missing. But anyways, we got the blue one. So I will be using this one for second exercise, okay? All right, you ready? As ready as we're ever going to be. Narrow to wide grip rows. We have 10 reps total, but the kicker here is that narrow and wide equals 1. So it's kind of a sneaky 20 reps. So again, I will be using dumbbells, standing as tall as I can. Nice posture, hip width apart in the feet, soft knees, and then I'll push my hips back so that ensures I'm in a nice strong setup. I want to turn my hands. So on the narrow grip, my palms are facing in. And then as I go into the wide grip, I turn my palms so they're facing out. So I want to go here, narrow, really narrow, tucking in those elbows, and then here wide, sending the elbows out to the sides. Okay, that's 3, and that's 4. And we're going to be working with these ones, 10 total. Again, the narrow and the wide. If you do not have dumbbells, you're most likely working with a band. You can again anchor our band, or if you don't have that as an option, you can work with the narrow and then the wide. There we are. So if you weren't feeling your back, you will be feeling it by the end of this here exercise, okay? All 20 rows of it. So we probably don't have to think about it as much. We probably don't have to pause it or hold it or anything like that, because we have a lot of volume here, and by the end of that, we should be feeling a lot here, and also quite a bit in the back of your shoulders, because that wide grip position here targets more here rather than the back muscle that I was talking about the whole time. So we'll get that done. With this one, we are doing a shoulder exercise, but not our average shoulder exercise. This one is tapping into the rotator cuff, which is a group of muscles that you've probably heard about before. Well, maybe because we've worked on them before, but also because they're very sensitive muscles. And people have hurt rotator cuffs, they have injured rotator cuffs, but it's important that we work them. So we're going to do this exercise where I'm holding this loop band like this, one side in each hand, and I'm going to apply some pressure to the band. Not too much, but just enough so that I feel the band is tight and it's not going all loose, wet noodle like this. Now what we're going to do is think about lifting this whole 90-degree situation up so that the band is in line with our eyes, and then I put it back down in line with my body. And this is us, and we are going to go through 10 of these total. Now, with this one, the wider I hold my hands, the more narrow my elbows, the harder that this is going to be. So it doesn't matter what strength your band is, although if it is too heavy, it's too strong of a band, this might feel really challenging, okay? You might want to grab something a little bit lighter, or again, you can even use a towel over here. We can use a towel like this, and then work with something like this instead, or a long band. Okay, so we're going through 10 of those. Once you're done that, woo, we are going to then shake out your shoulders, okay? Because again, they're probably feeling really a lot of burning stuff in there. And then we are going through 3 more rounds of this, taking little to no rest in between. So we'll, take a couple deep breaths, and then we will try to go right into our next set with no prescribed rest bout here. Just going back to back. Okay, so back into this first one, our narrow to wide grip rows. All right. So we'll work through our second set, and as we do so, I want to go back and talk a little bit about that rotator cuff exercise, that external rotation. So that's what we're working here. So we're pulling against the band, outward. So we're working the outward rotation of this shoulder, okay, which is going to help strengthen everything in that shoulder joint. That being said, okay, and I know this, I want to talk about this because some of us have this going on because you told me about it. If you have pre-existing shoulder injuries, okay, something happened to you, you got in a car accident, you fell when you were playing a sport when you were like 14, you had surgery at some point, whatever it is, okay, it doesn't matter what happened, but if you feel pain when you're doing this, okay, this rotator cuff one, if it feels like sharp, pinchy, kind of acute, fast pain, let's not do it, okay? Because for some of us, we might have some pre-existing injuries going on, and if it's a painful movement, it might be good for me, it might be good for Bobby and Dave, but it might not be so good for other people. Like, for example, my mom. I always bring up my mom because she is like she has the gimpiest shoulders. She's had surgery on both. She had frozen locked shoulder for so long, and so I know that something like this would not be so bueno for her, and she would let me know about it, okay? Whereas you guys maybe can't let me know so much. There's a little chat bar in here, but you are your own judge. You have to put your safety first. And so if you're feeling pain in this, what I would have you do instead is sub us in for maybe something like this. We can put ourselves into like a band pull apart, which should not be painful at all, which is gonna help us work the shoulders just without that direct rotator cuff focus. Okay, that was a long little spiel, so hopefully that you remember this talk next time we do this little shoulder stuff, but yeah. So we'll get through our 4 sets. We have 2 more to go, maybe 1 more where you guys are at right now. We have about 5 minutes until we really should be starting our final part, which is all about our abs, which means the down floor. Working hardcore. Let's do it. Very nice. Okay, so we'll get through our third set. Woohoo! Going through a set. Last couple sets again, trying to take little to no rest in between our rounds. And then we are getting there. This is our last little bit of counting as well. Our last part, our abs is on a timer. So we just have to do and not count. All right. So we'll finish up here. Last couple sets, I'm just setting up our timer for our final part, which is the core. What we've been waiting for, because it means we're probably very close to being done. All right, so we have quite a bit of time here until we really need to start. We have this last ab circuit, and then we will have a nice upper body stretch. We'll stretch for our back out as well. So take your time with our last set of these ones, the rows and those lifts, those burn-in lifts. Again, if you want to make that last set a bit harder, you can pull those hands out a bit more. Little tiny pull makes a huge difference, goes a long way. Let's see how that feels. Test her out for yourself. Last part coming up next after this. So as you do come to an end, you can grab yourself some water and then get yourself ready for the last part, where we will not be needing any equipment. We are just going to use our one and only best piece of equipment, our bodies, and of course our mat, to make it more comfortable for ourselves. All right, so we'll give you 2 more minutes here to finish up and to get ready and set up for our last part. So once you are done, your final set of those rows and then those external rotation lifts, we will put everything aside and away so that we have space on the floor. And yeah, we're not going to be stepping or tripping on anything. All right, last set. Of these lifts. So yeah, if you want to kind of go out with a little bit more of a bend and try widening up those hands a bit more, making sure those elbows stay in so that we are indeed rotating and we're not just lifting the arms. We want to pull those hands apart. Woo! And that's where that burning comes from. And it kind of creeps up on you really quick. We'll get through our 10. It's a nice saving grace. This is only 10. And then once you're done, you can put that stuff away. So I have moved my dumbbells and my bands all the way out of the way so that I do not have them in my space. All I have is my mat, where we'll be hanging out until the end. Okay, so I'm going to kind of angle us down a little bit because we are going down there to stay until we are done this last part, which is working off the timer, which is a nice 16-minute core circuit. So, woo, grab some water, bring it with you, okay, because we are coming down here and here to stay. We'll be working with 3 movements, working off the timer, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. So we have that 45 seconds of work and then 15 seconds to rest, as well as just transition between these exercises, all right? So very first one, potentially the hardest one, is going to be in a plank position, starting off in a high plank like this, and then we'll be going down onto the forearms and then up onto the hands. Right side down, left side down, right side up, and then we will be alternating. So we want to put my other side down. Now, this is going to be us for our first 45 seconds, okay? So that's the first one. The other 2 I will show you on the timer. Our second movement's actually a double-sided one, so we'll be doing 45 seconds. 45 seconds, don't worry, it's not a side plank. And then we have our last one after that. Again, I will show you guys those on the timer. Let's get started with this first one so we can get her done. Okay, plank walks, starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, very subtle beat, but it was us. Now, these ones, pretty hard, a lot harder than they look. Okay, so try them. And if you need to make them easier, try widening up your feet a little bit. Okay, if that's still too hard, You can just hold the plank. You don't have to go down and up onto your forearms. You can even go down into that forearm plank if that is more manageable for you, or if it takes a little bit of work off the wrists. 20 more seconds though. We need you here with us holding some kind of a plank, okay? Whether you're going up and down or you're just hanging out in one of those. Very nice. Okay, so breathing, 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, and time. And we're gonna flip over into the second one, which is a crossover crunch. So I have this arm down 45 degrees, opposite knee is bent up like this, arms reaching back and leg is reaching back, opposites. We're going to reach those opposite two together, touching the floor with the hand and the foot, and then exhale, shoulder blade leaves the floor, but this one stays. Okay, so we'll work with this one side only. If you want to make this a bit harder, you can hover above the floor rather than touch. All right, if you need to make it a little easier, you can bend the knee rather than keep it straight. Okay, so we'll work through this one on this one side only, 15 more seconds. Exhaling, inhaling as we go down. And 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, so we're going to the other side, of course. So we'll bend up that leg, straighten out the opposite one. Switch hands, switch arms. Take a deep breath. And here we go. Reaching, again, shoulder blade leaving the floor. We want to make sure that our hip stays down and that we're really making our upper body do that crunch. We call this one the crossover crunch. So you'll feel this one a little bit in the sides of your core, as that one shoulder should be staying and that other one is leaving. So we're kind of doing a bit of a cross. Woo-wee! Let's do it. Okay, strong finish. 10 seconds left. There it is, the abs, the core. 3, 2, 1, and last one is on our tummy. So lay on, flip on over, flipperoo, arms and legs out. We have a Superman version, a little different than our normal pull-ins that we do. Hands and feet are down. We're looking down at the floor. We're going to lift opposite hand and opposite foot, opposite leg, rather. So I'm kicking that leg up, trying to use my glute to lift that leg, my butt cheek, and then opposite hand. Pointing the toes, one stays down, and then one leaves. If you want to make this harder, everything lifts, and then we pulse, okay, while the other two stay lifted. So this one, much more of a lower back focused exercise. We'll feel it going on back there. You'll also, of course, feel your glutes and the back of your shoulders, as it's a little residual from what we did past couple days and just now in our exercises. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, so that was our first set. We will be doing it again 3 more times. Okay, so we're back into the first one, which was that plank walk, plank walks. Ready? Well, the timer is there. Here we go. So we're in the plank. Again, preferably holding some kind of plank if we can't move through those plank walks. And if you are doing the plank walks, make sure that you are alternating. So we want right side and then left side, so that we're not only pushing ourselves up with that right hand. So we get a little bit of sneaky tricep work in this one as we kind of push ourselves off the floor. You might feel it in the back of your arms. You want to make sure we're getting that evenly on both sides. 10 seconds left. If you're not going to make it, just hold it. Widen up your feet a bit if you need. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay, nice work. So flipping around. Woo, laying on our back. Feels kind of nice until we have to start doing this exercise, that is doing this crossover crunch. So again, if you want to challenge yourself, you can hover everything off of the floor and come all the way down, but not relax. That way you keep all that tension on your core and ab muscles, whereas if I touch the floor every rep with my hand, with my foot, I'm kind of relaxing. And then I go up and I'm working, and then I come down, I'm relaxing. It's going to be a little bit easier because I'm allowing my body to kind of rest between each rep. Whereas if I hover, whoa, it's going to be a lot harder. You can still kind of have your head go down each time, but we can keep that arm and leg up. 15 seconds. Okay, if you want to try it. Last chance on the side on the set. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, we'll switch legs, switch arms, so that we know what side we need to do next. Because we're going to start it in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Let's do it. Okay, so same thing you did on the first side, whatever it was, with the hover, without the hover, with the bent leg, straight leg, I don't care. It matters to you that you keep it even as to what you did on the first side. 25 seconds left. Got Lexi here to support you through your final core part here. Let's go. 15 seconds left. Okay, breathing through these and trying to make sure that one shoulder leaves every single rep. 10 seconds. Don't give up. We got this. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and time. All right. Flip me around. Flip over. Going into this next one here. So again, those of you who are prone to a tight lower back, okay, you're probably going to feel this, like me, because I always have quite a sensitive lower back, and stuff like this, I feel a lot in my low back. So what I think about as I'm kicking my leg, is I really focus on my glute. As I lift the leg, I think about squeezing my butt to lift that leg up, rather than like arching my back. Okay, and if I do this, I'm going to finish the set, and I'm going to feel really sore in my back. I'm not really going to get the right work in my core. But if I kind of squeeze my glute, and maybe I don't lift up as high, okay, but I am focusing on using my butt muscles and my core to kind of support myself through this whole thing. Okay, I'm going to feel less in the back, and you'll get more out of this overall. Keep yourself a bit more safe, which we all want. 3, 2, 1, and time. She just comes over here, makes an appearance, drools on my phone, and then leaves. All right, so we are here at our second set. Yay, the plank walks. You see why I put these first? Because they are probably the hardest. Okay, here we go. Third round. Let's do it. Okay, again, if you are getting more tired as we go through this, you try the plank walks every time, see if you can do them. As soon as you cannot do them anymore, as soon as your hips start to lift up, you start to kind of have the pipe going on, we'll just hold the plank, which I know sometimes can feel maybe even harder than moving. It's a little less distracting, but we'll just try to stay there. If you need a bit of a distraction, you can tap your toes right and left, and it might just be a little in between of the plank walks and just holding. That'll keep you with us for 10 more seconds. Sometimes you just need a little distraction factor to stay in this plank for 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay. All right, on our back. So all about our abs. Okay, crossover crunch. So take a deep breath. Try to squish, again, our lower back into the floor. Every time we crunch up, what we can start to think about, now that we've mastered the technique on this one, we know what's going on. Okay, this is the third set. We will try to squish our back down into the floor, and every time we crunch up, we want to create some pressure with our back in the floor. So we're not just crunching, but we're also being very active to contract our core by pushing our lower back down. There should be no space underneath your back at any point. See if we can get that going on for this one. 10 more seconds. You got this. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Woo! Okay, so we'll switch legs, switch sides. Deep breath, and try to squish that back down. And let's go. Let's do it. Okay, third set. And try to see if we can cross over. So we're having this shoulder stay. This one has to leave a lot, so the whole shoulder blade comes off the floor. You're just kind of crunching up like this, and you're not quite doing that rotation, that crossover, and you're really missing out on a lot of the core and ab benefit that you'll get from this. 15 seconds left. This is the second last time you are here. You only have to do one more. Not too bad. Nope. Kind of bad, kind of burns, but you got this. And time. Okay, laying on your tummy, turn around, flipperoo, arms and legs out. Okay, we're gonna work with these alternating Supermans for our third set, and then we have one more, and then we are done. So not too bad. All right, let's do it. Okay, we're on our tummies, working with our Supermans, alternating legs, right side, left side, and trying to think about tightening our glutes, keeping our chin tucked in so we're looking down at the floor. And again, if you want to make it harder, we can hover and then have those opposites lift. Let's do it. 20 more seconds. All right, 30 seconds. Let's go. Finishing strong. Good job. 3, 2, and time. Okay, this is it. Here we are, the final set. So let's get it done. You're already kind of there. You're flipped over, ready to start your plank walks. Okay, final set in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay, 45 seconds of a plank walk or just a plank hold or something in a plank position. Okay, you got this. This is it, your last chance to do this, okay? Your last chance to hold this as strong as you can. And your last exercise of the day. So we'll finish strong, 20 more seconds. We'll try to just take some deep breaths, about 5 more of them. Slow ones, slow inhale, slow exhales, okay? Breathing through this last 10 seconds, 2 to 3 breaths, you'll be there, okay? Don't give up though. Don't stop for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now you can stop. Okay, so we're going to flip over, lay on our back, get down there, not to relax yet, but to do our crossover crunch. Okay, last set, 45 seconds, starting right now. Let's go. Okay, opposite arm, opposite leg, reaching together towards the center. And we'll try to really lock in that one shoulder staying. That arm down, shoulder down, everything down. This opposite side is reaching to the center. 30 seconds left. You got this. Same thing here. We're trying to exhale every time we bring that leg and arm together. Inhale every time we open it up. Using that breath to see if you have a nice strong core contraction. Last chance here. 3, 2, 1, and rest. All right, switch sides. It's not too bad now after those plank walks are done. Great. Okay, so we're going to finish off the second side in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay, opposite arm, leg. Let's do it. There we go. We are so close. Okay, 30 seconds left in this one. Our last movement, and then we are done. I will leave you with a few stretches, of course. That will make you feel good after doing all this crazy stuff we did today. 15 more seconds of this right here, though, on this side. Okay, so again, strong finish, just like you thought about on the last side. Back down, exhaling together. 5, 4, 3, 2, and time. Nice work. All right, last one, the Supermans. All right, this is it. Best for last. I don't want to say these ones are the easiest, but they definitely burn the least, in my humble opinion. All right, let's go. So we're laying on our tummies, arms out, legs out. Opposite arm, opposite leg. A little bit of coordination. Didn't mention it, but it is happening here, connecting the brain and your body. Sometimes it's maybe a little bit of a test at first, but once we get it going on, just make sure you are lifting opposites. 25 seconds left. Okay, using your glutes, your butt cheeks to lift up that leg, okay? We're not bending the leg. 15 seconds. You got this. Just strong core. Almost there. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. You are so very done. Woo! All right, nice work, my friends. So we are going to stretch it out. I'm going to leave you with a few stretches that you can do on your own time, which actually starts down on the floor. So you can stay down here if you like and start off with some of this cat-cow, which is going to feel really good. After all that core work that we did, we can round our back and arch our back, taking your sweet time, doing this anywhere from 3 to 5, 10 times if you want to make time for it. Okay, but at least 3 of these nice rotations, rounding the spine, and then trying to push our ribs down into the floor, looking up into the ceiling. When you're done, however many you would like to do, we can sit on our heels and walk our hands away from our bodies into this nice child's pose. It feels so nice. It's going to open up our lower back, our upper back. If you have sensitive knees, you can find yourself a chair or something to put your hands on so that you don't bend so much, or you can even just kind of push your butt up in the air a bit more. That's okay too. So this is the first little stretch that I would highly suggest that you do today. Okay, the other ones are actually standing. So once you're done that one, I'm just going to move us up a bit. We can take a bit of time here to focus on stretching on the front of our chest and shoulders. So of course, if you have 2 sides, you can get yourself going both sides at once. One side is going to allow us to get a little bit deeper into the stretch. But if you're short on time, then do both sides. Okay, that way you don't, miss out or rush through it doing one side at a time. But what we're going to start with is our arms in line with our body. So again, if you're using both, same rules apply. If you're using one, and we just have one, this one's just hanging out. We'll spend about 30 seconds here. So arm in line, and then we'll take this arm and we'll move it up, and we'll spend about 30 seconds here. We'll feel a bit more stretch kind of down underneath the armpit and our chest muscles. 30 seconds up here. Should not be painful. Okay, just tension. If you're feeling pain, you can just ease off a little bit. And then the last one is bringing the hand below the shoulder, which will allow us to feel a little bit more in the upper shoulder and the neck a little bit. You can even turn your head to feel that down the side of your neck as well. And this is why doing one side at a time kind of feels nice, because if we're doing 2 sides, you can't quite have that same neck focus. But it works. And again, it allows you to stretch this out and get it done in time, and that's all good. So this is something that I would definitely suggest you do, as it's going to really help us open up all the stuff that we did and just overall help promote us to be in this nice posture position. The last one that you can stretch out today is the back of your shoulders, doing a little something like this, which is just going to feel really good after, again, all the rows that we did, all of that, those rotations, all that stuff. So we can send one arm up and over. This one's going to scoop under and pull in, and you'll feel that going on in the back and side of your shoulder. And we can take, again, about 30 to 60 seconds on one side, and then you can switch, and we can spend, again, about 30 to 60 seconds on this side. Anything else, my friends, that you want to stretch? We talked about that tricep stretch last day. You can throw that guy in there today. Anything else for your lower back, feel free to throw in. But you are done with me on this lovely Thursday. So thank you so much. So nice to be back in here. I'm feeling like a human again. So yay. I will see you guys all tomorrow for our lower body leg day, Friday leg day, and then it's the weekend. So look at us go. Have a great day, you guys. And if you're watching the replay, please drop a comment so I know you're here. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.